What's the crack, everyone? My name's Mex. Some of you know me. Real name Dave. In case you feel the need to scream it out if you see me in public, that's fine. Either of them will do. What I'm gonna do is there's a lot of people out there who finding it hard to maybe stay in their home for the next couple of weeks or however long it takes to get rid of this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and teach some basic music production to whoever's interested. Doesn't matter what age you are. Some of the workshops that I do with kids, we have kids maybe as young as 10 or 11 that could have a big interest in this sort of field. This could suit a lot of the kids that are currently finding it very difficult to stay in the house. I know this kept me in isolation for a lot of my youth, and sometimes still does when I have the time to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop some links underneath this video in the comments, and give you maybe advice on how to pick up apps for your tablet or phone or laptop that can reproduce what I'm going to show you here. I'm working with hardware at the minute, so the hardware is the equipment that I use to make music. I've made a lot of music over the years. My first releases were in the noughties. Been making music since the early 90s, basically, since the rave scene became part of my life. Got into hip hop then as well, so do mostly dance styles and hip hop, but also do a little bit of music for television and theater, and I like composing stuff to scenes in movies. So I'm big into movies, big into music. Who isn't big into music or movies? Drop your name and a comment below if you're not into either movies or music, and we can deal with that when it happens. But yeah, as I said, there's loads of videos out there for this sort of stuff, but I wanted to do something basic for anybody who might want to get into this and utilize their time during this lockdown or self-imposed lockdown, whatever you want to call it. So I just want to go through the real basics. Like I do this at workshops with kids and teenagers across Ireland, and often what happens is I'd be in a group of say 30 teenagers, and we might find that maybe 20 of them are very interested in it, and then you got maybe 5 to 10 who really want to get involved in doing stuff like this. But listen, that's enough about me and what I do. I just want to do very basic stuff. So if you're a music producer already, probably this isn't for you, because this is the most basic stuff, and stuff that maybe more experienced people in music will take all this stuff for granted. So this is really, really basic stuff. So as I said, you can get apps for all this stuff. I'll drop some links in the comments or some suggestions for anybody that's interested. And if you have any questions, just drop a comment or send me a PM. Very approachable, and never ridicule anyone for any questions, because it's only common sense if you know it. That sort of way. So I'm going to talk about his hardware. So what I'm going to do, as I said, I'm going to drop a link for apps, and it will be just software or the app version of these pieces of hardware that I'm dealing with. So this here is called a maschine. It's made by Native Instruments. It's one of the handiest tools that I have in the studio at the minute. It's for making beats, basically. You can use this on its own or with a laptop. I use it with my laptop because I've been using software to control all of my gear for years. This is another example of hardware, this dusty synthesizer here. I've got a collection of synthesizers, but this is just one that suits my needs at the minute. We got our KRK monitors. You see them in a lot of music videos and stuff. They're pretty good speakers for anyone who's into hip hop or dance, because they like their bass. So speaking of bass, we're going to kick off with explaining what this thing does. So it's basically I would call it a drum controller. We got these pads that control basically sounds that we have loaded into our laptop. So the sounds across this one, it's basically a drum kit. So each pad is a different drum sound. So the first one that we're going to look at is our bass drum. So everybody should know what a bass drum sounds like. The next one is a snare. So we put these two together and we get something like, get those sounds. Then we got some hats and stuff. So it's pretty much the sounds that you get in a drum kit. We get an alternative bass, because sometimes one bass drum just doesn't cut it, and you want to do something like, you want to maybe do something like that. A little variation is always good in a beat. So we got a clap there as well. Very popular in dance and hip hop. As I said there, the hats. Up here we got some other percussions that are always good for. Oh yeah, at my workshops with kids, they always just want to keep hitting those ones because they sound cool. Another clap type sound that we could use, and that is a ride cymbal. So you know what all the sounds are now. Got bass, snare, hats. That's probably the most important parts for what we're going to do today. So if we switch over to the laptop, basically we've got a little grid here. So the grid stretches across from here all the way to here, and we've got some measurements up here. So yeah, we don't really need to know much about this at the minute, but this is basically a grid, and it's a time-based grid where we can do something like this. We can just type in little hits for where our drums go. I'm just gonna hit play so we can hear what I've done there. So if you look at the timing there, basically you put in something where you wanted to hit. So I know from years of this that if I put a snare there, it's gonna sound pretty good. Just for a very simple dance beat, and we put in some hats. So everyone hear that? Basically the measurements with music is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When we get to 4 when we're counting like that, that's what we would call a bar. So this is basically 1 bar of music repeating itself. It's a 1 bar beat basically. So if anybody's interested in what I'm doing here, just maybe like the video or drop a comment to say you're interested, and I can do another one and we can start without all of the nonsense from me talking at the start of it, and probably be more interesting. But yeah, I'm going to drop some apps so that you can start getting into this stuff yourself. Cool.